All right, Algebra 1A students, welcome to part 2 of your video on lesson 5.4. We're continuing to talk about point-slope form, which we dealt with in our last video. We talked about it being a little bit more complicated than the last form of an equation that we looked at, but more helpful for us in situations where we don't know the y-intercept, but we know some random point on the line. In this video, we're going to look at how to graph an equation from that form. It's pretty straightforward, pretty nice and easy. You just have to find two things, basically the same two things that you found in the other form, y equals mx plus b, or slope-intercept form. But in this form, the starting point that we use is slightly different. Okay. Now, if we're given this equation and asked to graph the equation y minus 1 equals 2/3 times, in parentheses, x minus 2. The first thing we want to find is a point that we know is on this graph, a starting point xy in the parentheses. Okay, we want to find an xy point that we know is on this graph. Okay, so what we need to look at is what number is being subtracted from the x. Okay, in this parentheses it says x minus 2. Therefore, our starting point x value is 2. Because it says x minus 2, and the starting point is whatever number is being minused on the x, in this case, a 2. Okay? The y value is just whatever number is being subtracted from the y, which is out here, y minus, in this case, it's y minus 1. Therefore, our starting point's y value is 1. Okay? So my starting point on this graph is 2 in the x direction, and 1 in the y direction. 2 in the x direction, and 1 in the y direction. Okay, 2 in the x, 1 in the y. So, I go on my graph, 2 in the x and 1 in the y, and there's my starting point right there. Okay, I know that point is for sure my starting point because of what is being subtracted from the x and what is being subtracted from the y. Okay, just as a quick side note, if it were to say y plus something or x plus something, that would just make whatever your starting point value is negative. Okay, so if it's a plus, your starting value is negative. In this case, it's not a plus, it's a minus, so my starting value is a positive number. Now, the slope we should be able to identify as being right here in front of the parentheses. That fraction is always our slope when we're talking about point-slope form. So my slope is 2/3, and hopefully we remember that slope is always rise over run. So once I have my starting point at 2, 1, which I graphed right here, I can find another point by just using my rise and run. This slope says to go up 2, because it's positive, and then over 3. 1, 2, 3. There's another point right there for this graph. And I can do it again. Up 2, over 1, 2, 3, right there. Okay. And now I'm ready to draw my line, ready to graph this line. And I can do the same thing going this direction. Okay? So once I found my starting point and I used my slope from in front of the parentheses to find a couple more points, I was ready to, boom, draw my line, put arrows on both ends, and I'm finished. That's all I have to do. Just find my starting point, use my slope to find another point, and that's it. Okay, I'm done after that. Now, I have one here I'd like you to try. The thing I want you to notice is that this slope is actually negative 4/5, and the y says y plus 7, which means your starting point is going to need to be negative in the y. Okay, so pause the video, take a look at figuring out the starting point and the slope for this equation. Do a little sketch quick on your paper, then come on back and I'll show you what it should look like. Alright, in this one, our starting point is 4 in the x direction, negative 7 in the y direction. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my starting point right there, 4, 7. And my slope is to go down 4 over 5. Again, I can remember this as my rise over my run. Rise over run. So to find a new point, I go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another point. That's all I really need is 2 points. I will connect those 2 points, keep it going that way, keep it going that way, and I'm finished. Okay, so I found my starting point. I used my slope. That's what it should look like. It should go down because it's a negative slope. If you have questions about graphing an equation from this point slope form, please make note to ask me in class tomorrow. Otherwise, that's all I have for you. Have a wonderful night.